Hello. Hey, hi, good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Hey, hi, Rama. Okay, hi, Harsha. Okay, so guys, I think the agenda for today is like we are going to discuss and talk about any of the doubts or anything you would like to discuss. So that is what the whole objective of today's session is. So if you have some questions or doubts you would like to discuss, feel free to ask them.
Hi Amit, I have a doubt from SQL. That is from one of the assignments that you have given. That was related to
You have
employee
doubt from SQL.
SQL. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the question states like select the name and last name of the employees working for the department with second lowest budget. So how do we do this with second lowest or something like that?
Second lowest budget, there are multiple ways of finding that out. So we can, either write a subquery for that. So with that, we can find it.
Okay, so can you please explain that detail?
Yes.
I'm Deepa here. I have pasted the consolidated questions from my batch in the chat.
Okay. So basically, this question that we have is you're asking the department. So if I say right, like for example, we have to pick the name from the table that will be this departments. And if I say where budget right is equals to that will come up as this. So what we do is if I run this query over here, right now this is going to give me where the budget is the highest, right? That is the maximum budget that we have over there. But what we want to do is we want to find the second budget, the second highest budget. We have to first of all find the name of that department where the budget is the highest. So what we can do in that case is we can just use this select find this second highest budget.
So it's second lowest, but we can do that with min, right? The same way. So
Right?
the question states about second lowest. So we can change max to min. Yeah, that's
Oh,
it.
sorry. Yeah. So first lowest, third, second highest. Yeah. So if you make this minimum, so this will now give the lowest budget over here. And if I want to pick the lowest budget is so this is what we have. So this is 5,500, right? So this is the second lowest budget, right? So I'm able to pick this budget from here now. So what I'm saying select minimum budget from this where budget is greater than the minimum budget over here. So minimum budget is this 15,000, right? And I had to pick up the minimum budget where budget is more than the minimum now. So basically it will say, okay, I want to pick up something which is more than this, but it has to be the minimum. This gives me the second lowest budget over here. So what I can do now over here is this query that I have created, right? This query I have to put it inside another sub query over here where I will have to say select name from budgets, select name from departments, where budget equals to right, you get this research department now. So department you have now been able to find it out. So two subqueries you have to go with this. And then what we have to do is we have to pick up the employees right from this department. So in fact, if you want, like you could have pick up the code also from here. So let's say select code from this. So you will get the code of the research department, and this is the code. Now what you have to do is you have to further go inside this. You will say select start from employees. There. Right? So these are two employees from there. So this is how you will be able to find those employees over there. You want to pick the employee names only, you can just say the names and I have to build up the entire.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Got it?
Mhm.
Hi, Amit. This
Hello?
is Rama. Yeah, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
Okay. I have a question on Power BI, Amit. I think I have sent you a file, DAX assignment. I'm getting a blank in the which I could not filter it off. So if I delete it, it's saying NA, and if I'm not selecting it from the filter, it still shows the blank from Power BI.
So NA it shows NA. So did that the same case study which we were talking about?
Yes.
I shared that solution also with you, know, like the working solution of that, the file, the
No.
one that I shared with you. Did I not?
No.
Let me just do that. Deepa is asking how to change the records based on dependent drop down.
Yeah, that was the Excel first assignment. Last two questions, it was relying on the drop down concept, so I couldn't get that. Do you have that question with you, sheet, or should I share
See,
my
what I'll do
screen?
is let me just explain the concept of drop down.
Mhm.
Then you can try that question on that, right? So that you will be able to do it up. And Excel SQL interview questions. I mean, you want some interview, like what type of interview questions are asked on that, right?
Yeah,
That's the
from the data analyst or data scientist perspective, we all just want to know what are all the concepts we need to concentrate and how we can practice actually, either via this hacker rank or any practice exercises from web, because we are just forgetting these concepts, right? We need to practice out some of the questions via online, so that only we can able to recollect all those concepts. So want to know any particular website for that, or how we concentrate on these concepts. Want to know about all those things.
website. If you talk about, so you can go for this, Wise Owl website. They have a lot of stuff on that. W3 schools. So you will find a lot of exercises on that, right? So these are some of the most frequently used.
Yeah, W3 schools, it's like basics, right? For each technology. From the interview perspective, I just want to know how we can prepare ourselves. Like, we need to practice those questions really. So, do you have any cheat sheet, or do you have any sample questions in PDF form or something, so that we can?
See, generally what happens is, see, when you go for the interview, the questions will revolve around these topics only. So what they do is just the data will be changing, right? That is the scenario that happens. So as such, I mean, if you ask, right, like cheat sheets and all, so definitely that you will not be able to find it anywhere, because what happens is, like, every interviewer asks the questions based on their set of data that they use. So what they will
Yeah,
do is, they will say, okay, no, this is the data that you have, and now tell me, how will I find the top 10 reports, or how will I
yeah.
join?
Likewise, those concepts, what we need to concentrate. For example, PBI, these many topics. In SQL, the exact topics, so that we can concentrate more on that for interview preparation. Like.
So like if you come talk about the SQL now, so basically most of the questions will revolve around joins, right? So they ask a lot of questions on joins and subqueries, right? They are like some of the hot topics that will always be asked, right? And apart from that, if you come to this SQL, a lot of questions are also asked around, the DML commands, insertion of the data, updation and deletion of the data. So that is how the questions revolve around. And if you talk about Excel, so Excel, it will be more around the formulas, right? Like how to apply a VLOOKUP, HLOOKUP, index match, right? They will ask you the questions regarding this data validations and the conditional formattings. So that is where the questions can be asked. So see, there is never a line like uh, what topic. So questions can be from anything to anywhere. So because
Okay.
how the interview proceeds is, they will always start from simple questions, and as we keep on answering them, we keep on moving to the next level of the difficulty in that. So that is how the questions go along, right? Like many times it will also happen. You will go for the exam. So what they will do is they will primarily give you a written test. They will say, okay, you have
Yeah.
to now take on this test over here. So in
Yeah,
that test, we
nowadays
have also.
everything, yeah, all those interviews. Even my husband is interviewing so many people, so everywhere. They are asking to share our screen, and they are asking us to write code in every language. I mean, like SQL, Excel, because yeah, that is what happening nowadays. So we need to practice a lot.
In that SQL test, there will be 10 to 15 questions and ranging from all the concepts. And then they ask them to work on that. If you're able to solve them, that means the person has a good knowledge on it. So uh, I mean, where the questions are asked, basically, if you ask me like topics, so it's like primarily all. because when I also like there are the college batches and other, you know, the batches that I train. So over there also when they all go for that, so I get all these mixed kind of answers that, you know, the questions were asked from generic all the topics over there. So just to have that understanding, okay, the person has overall knowledge on the topic,
Okay.
right? But still, if
Yeah.
you want, I'll, you
Because
know, try to share some the interview questions only, the kind of questions that I ask and the people have asked to me. So I'll share that
okay.
list. I mean, I'll have to create that first. I don't have it
Okay.
handy right away.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah, yeah,
create.
yeah. It takes time. I know. Thanks for that. We really need that actually because we can try out some options, right? Instead of going and beating around the bush in net. From experienced people, if we get some sample questions, it would really help.
No, sure, I'll do that.
And
So
Amit,
you're
for that first
asking,
question, right? If you want, I can share that because none of us able to practice that. We couldn't get that question actually.
sorry.
No, the Excel question I was asking.
Uh-huh.
Should I share my screen or
Ah, yes, please, you can share screen.
yeah? Yeah, this one and this one. See, based on the, I can able to get the top and bottom. I can able to do that. No, that is for another question. Yeah. Yeah, for example, you can explain one thing. Based on the selection from the drop down, it should display. So I'm just getting confused. I can able to do the data validation there. I can create some sample data here. I can give that range. I can do some data validation, but I don't know how to write the formula. And based on that drop down, it should work here. So I couldn't get that.
No, one second. So you in this, what you have to do is you have to just create a drop down over here where you have to put the name of the carrier, right?
Okay, the flight. Okay,
So what you do is go to that sheet where you have all the carrier names that are given to you in the airlines data.
here, this one.
So copy them or just copy this entire carrier column, right? Go to that sheet and you have to paste it somewhere on the right side. So we just they are not just to this sheet. Can you give me the controls?
Yeah.
You just have to remove the duplicates from here, right? So these
Okay.
are the carriers that you have. So you come inside this and you will come to this data, and here you will have this data validation to make it list. So in this list, these values have to be visible. So see now you have this data validation over here. Now if I select this airline for this particular city, you have to find the total flights. So you will be using count if as formula over here. So you will use counted formula. So in that case, now you have to go to that sheet and you have to put the criteria range 1. That will be the carrier, and this carrier you will have to select. Then comma, second criteria will be city should be this in the column of origin city. So that is how you will be able to solve this up. Right?
Yeah, just a minute, just a minute. Yeah. No, the range you have, this is from the original data, right? The raw data, criteria range.
Criteria range, sorry.
No,
That
in
will be
count
from
if
here.
us, yeah,
So that
from
will
the raw data, and comma criteria, I should give the criteria and the drop down. I'm not getting that.
criteria in the drop down means whatever you select from here. So like for example, the question says you have to count the flights.
Mm-hmm.
The question says that you have to count the flights. Like for example, if you select the carrier from the drop down. So if
Mm-hmm.
you select the carrier as AA,
Okay.
this is the carrier that you have selected. So now
Okay.
for this particular carrier, if I select any particular
Source. Okay.
this, any location,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you can now count that there is one such flight that was there,
Yeah,
which
one.
was for which this carrier now. Similarly, if for the
Okay.
in that question, if I now a person comes and he says that I want to count the flights for not this location but for this location. So if we change the location, so the formula will change, right? Like for this particular airline, how many flights were there? So for that, we are using the countif formula in that scenario. So if now the location is this, right? So you have to apply the formula. If you say
Okay.
countif, so I'll just do it the partial part for you. So if you just apply this countif formula over here,
Mm-hmm.
right? The range will be in that case, my range becomes the column this
Okay.
here, right? Comma. What will be your criteria in that case? Criteria will be whatever a person is selecting in
Drop down.
this.
Okay.
Right. So if I now see right now for this carrier, we have 121 flights, but we want to keep the criteria as 2. The airline should be this and the city should be this. So you will have to use count if S in that case.
Okay. For the total revenue sum, if I need to use for that,
Yeah. So that will use sum.
sum if I will give the range from the raw data and I'll give this range of dependent.
Correct.
Okay, maybe I can try it again because even I followed the same thing. I couldn't get it. Okay. And you asked me one of the assignment like based on the drop down, like top and bottom, this should display that many records.
Hmm.
Do I need to follow the same approach like this?
No, over here you just have to apply the formula only. Nothing is now more required. You just have to apply the formula over here.
No, that was using conditional formatting.
No, now you're asking another question, right?
Yeah.
So here.
Yeah.
So in that case, you have to apply the conditional formatting. So you just have to create a formula. So you have that top end rule. If you
Yeah.
say that you want to select, you want to highlight top 5 cells or top 3
Yes.
cells.
Yeah.
So you will use the top end conditional rule in that case. So whatever the value a person selects, you will pass it that in the conditional formatting rule.
Yeah, I used that Amit, and another drop down using the data validation. That drop down will hold the count like 2, 3, 4, 5. If I select top and that many rows from another drop down, I am getting only top, and conditional formatting is working for me, but the drop down is not working. So I need to get, I feel like I'm missing something there.
You just have to get a drop down over there. You will just write top and bottom over there and you will bring that inside that
Yeah,
list.
that is working for me, and conditional formatting is working for me. If I click top and another parallel drop down, it holds the number 2, 3, 4, 5. If I select top from one drop down and number of rows to be displayed in another drop down, both I don't know how to display in that manner.
You are asking question number 3, Deepa, I think. Q3
Oh,
in
is
that
it?
sheet.
Oh, in the same assignment.
Yeah, in the same Q3.
Okay,
if you
okay,
see, then
okay,
you can-
okay. Sorry, I should mention that because I was thinking that was in another assignment.
The same in
Can you just-
Q3.
Yeah, Q3. Yeah, this one.
Mhm.
I think I didn't finish this.
Right.
Yeah,
So you have this over here.
yeah,
You have this, and a person is going to put. So what's the question?
yeah. Number of records, it was using data validation. If I select top and number of records here, the following record should be displayed likewise, depending upon my
So it is a.
selection.
This is a data validation that a
Yeah.
person should not be. The question says, in this you have to make sure that the number should be between 2 to 5 only. So there is
Yeah,
no
I have
need,
applied that. Yeah, I have applied that.
so there is no need of the second. What's the question over here then?
If you select top and number of records to be displayed, it should display only top records likewise, right?
So you have to say suppose you select bottom and bottom 2 over here.
Yeah, but it is not displaying. I didn't finish this actually.
So did you apply the conditional formatting? How have you applied the conditional formatting?
No, I didn't finish this actually.
So you have to apply the conditional formatting also, na, in this. So then this is going to work. Like for example, if you come to the home tab.
Yeah,
So
I
what would
worked with the top and bottom rule and it is giving, if I change it is giving, but it is not taking the values from number of records. So I don't know what I'm missing there.
So from here you'll have to go into this rules over here,
Mhm.
and then you'll have to create a formula for that. So now this formula is something, I think we discussed this thing in the class also. Previously we did this up. So one of you asked, so we did this same question in the classroom also. So think on it. You'll look at it. It's a simple formula that there was this large and small formula that we had discussed.
Okay. And yeah, this is all I have in Excel and I have some questions in Power BI.
Power BI relationships not detecting from the Power
Yeah.
BI. Can you show me something that you have done? Where,
Are you viewing my PBI screen or?
right now I see Excel.
Just a minute. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yeah, this one, everything is working fine here. If you go and check in the manage relationship, this thing I used via auto detect. You explained about auto detect and removing that enabling option, right? This is working fine. Whereas if I want to do everything, I did this relationship setup manually. Everything manually I did it. See, it is not detecting this relation. I don't know why.
Which relation?
See this one in the dotted lines.
I can't see it. I just see that relationship you right now. I think you just shared a part of this pop-up would be coming in that. That pop-up is not visible.
Should I stop and share it again?
I just share the entire screen.
Yeah. See this one.
Can't see it.
Now?
No.
I don't know what is
I
happening.
can see only the relationship view.
Yeah, I have the question on relationship only.
So, I mean, I see
in this dotted line. Yeah.
Dotted line I cannot see over here. Which dotted line are you talking?
From sales to region.
So there is one line that I can see.
Yeah, I
That
think
is-
top one from sales
Yeah.
to region. Yeah.
So this is sales territory ID to sales territory ID, correct?
Yeah. If I do everything manually, setting the relationship among tables, this particular thing is not working. It is saying like already a relationship is there.
What is there?
Already the relationship between these two tables exists.
So relationship is there now, so it is already created.
No, it seems like it is not in dotted lines.
I'm really not clear like what exactly. So I don't see a dotted line right now. I see a complete line over there.
This one 5.2, can you able to see 5.2, then a nearby sheet? This one. Can you able to see now the dotted lines?
No, can't. I mean,
Yeah,
others
now it's
Yeah,
We
Yeah.
can see.
because
we
that
can
was
see.
the sheet. It detected the relationships automatically. Here in the same exercise, I have deleted all those things. I did it manually. Why it is not detecting?
I'm not able to see it. I'm not right now. So like what I see, what I see right now on your screen is I see the sales table and geography table, right?
Yeah, see the relationship is in dotted lines. 5.2, you're saying assignment 5.2 Power BI desktop.
Yeah, it's in dotted line. It's
Yeah,
both
Deep-
side relationship. Amit from
Deep-
sales to geography.
here.
Deepa, can you click on properties and field so that you can see the full view? Can you click on the properties and field?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I click on manage relationships.
See, I try to establish this relation. It is not working.
See, this relationship is basically, if you will see on that, right? Click on that, so that relationship is basically many-to-many relationship that you are getting inside that. So that sales territory you're talking about, right? So that's
Yeah.
you can't detect relationship over here. So we just see the tables also over here. Click on the close button,
Okay.
right? Close this. See, one thing is, if you will see, you see stars are coming at the top of the two tables, sales table and
Yeah,
geography
many to
table.
many relation.
Many relationship, right? Now
Yeah.
there is also a flow of the relationship, right? The data, if you see, the tables are indirectly connected right now. That geography table is flowing into the customer table, and customer table is flowing into the sales table. You see
Yeah.
that relationship?
Yeah,
And
one to many.
no, basically they are from geography to customer table. There is one to many relationship.
Yeah,
From customer
yeah.
to sales also one to many relationship. So technically,
Yes.
these tables are already connected. So between two tables, you can only have one relationship. So geography to sales table already has a relationship between them based on that intermediate table, that is customer over here. So that is why it is not allowing a relationship between sales and geography directly over there. Getting it?
If I try to pull the data and do the visualizations, right, will it give the correct data for me?
Yes, yes. It will give you great data. You can try that out. So for example, you pick some country or the country name, or you try to pick up some you have this country region, cities and all. So pick
Yeah.
that up and make a chart on that with the sales value inside it. You can pick that state province name if you want.
Here, okay.
No, state province should actually you put on the axis. Axis. Remove the country region code. And so now you can go to that sales table. Tax amount you can pick. Right?
Yeah, because while doing automatically it will detect the relationships. It is working fine among the tables, but this thing is missing. So I got a doubt whether my analysis will go wrong if I make charts.
Just that because it is two tables can only have one relationship. That is why it is
Okay.
not a second relationship.
Okay. But which is the correct option? Manually setting the relationships or auto detecting the relationships and correcting it?
See, automatic is basically, so automatic is something which is not going to work in every scenario. I mean, in every scenario, because many times the column names can be different. So you can always go with the auto detect, and later on you can just investigate it
Okay.
manually. That
Okay.
okay, or the relationships correct. If there is the
Yeah.
relationships are not created, you can correct them out. You can just delete it, or if the relationship was not created. So the effort is generally required from both the ways, automatic plus manual both.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, should I start sharing? And you didn't show us how to create the dashboards on PBI, right?
Sorry.
You didn't show us how to create dashboards on PBI.
Dashboard, I think we should have discussed it. So it's on the Power BI service that you created. So like for example, you have this.
No, dashboards, it's like pinning visuals from different reports, right?
So if you have this over here, you open any report over there. That's any report that you have. Suppose I have this report with me. So dashboard is just where you pick up some charts. So maybe let's suppose
Yeah, like pinning the visuals from different reports.
that is it. Right. Suppose if this is a report that you have, so dashboard is, suppose you want to make a quick summary of any of that, like it has, if it has some different pages that you have, right? So what you want to do is you want to just pick up certain visuals and want to create a quick summary, so where a person can go and quickly see that up. So you have to just click on that chart over there, you will see this pin visual, and you will say you want to create a new dashboard now. In this new dashboard, you give it a name. Suppose I give it a name as test, and you click on pin. So when you do that, so you go to that dashboard. So dashboard is now created. Now this dashboard is something that just has one visual right now. So similarly, what you can do is you can just keep on going to your reports, and whichever chart you feel is something you would like to put that on that you like to put on that the dashboard that you are trying to build. So you just have to open that, and you just have to click on pin visual, and now you will say existing dashboard test only, and click on that. So if you go to the dashboard now, so on that you have two charts now. One chart is this, one chart is this. So this creates a dashboard. So on the dashboard you get a feature of asking a question. So you can write any question over here, and it will give you the answer based on that. This is what a dashboard is.
Yeah. And pinning visuals from others report, do I need to get the access from them?
I mean, you will be able to pin your the visuals only. So if someone has shared that report with you, so you can't you can't edit those reports. So dashboard is
Okay.
something which will be shared. So you can only pin the visuals of your own report, the reports
Okay.
that you have published.
Yeah, in the workspace creation, right? If we were working in a team, if I have that access, can I do it by pinning
And then
those
you can do
visuals?
it, right? If you have the
Yeah.
access, then you can.
Okay.
There are these shared with me reports, right? From those kind of reports, can we get it on the left? Shared with.
Not from, they are only read only rights. Only you can see them.
So then, do we like where do we see those shared reports or shared dashboards? If we have to share
They
the
will
link.
also, they will also come in the shared with me only. So over here they use the reports also and dashboards also.
Okay.
Then your question is something like what are triggers and clustered and non-clustered. See, triggers are something which we use. So they are more like some stored procedures that we have. Trigger is like these are something that we create for the purpose of I will say, uh, when you want to restrict someone to insert, update, or delete the data, right? So there, so now these are the triggers and indexes. These are more of the concepts which are used by the more of the database developers, right? They are being used. They will be used by those people, not from the data analytics perspective. Because data analytics perspective, the questions will generally revolve around your writing the queries, joins, etc. only. These triggers and indexes are, they are not asked at a very deeper level. They will just ask you what the concept is. So basically, if you talk about trigger, so trigger is like you want that, okay, if someone is trying to insert a data, so automatically another query will be fired, right? That is something we call it as the triggers now, right? Suppose if you want that if the person is trying to insert some data, so there are two type of triggers, before and after. So before that data will be inserted, if you want to do something, suppose you want that if anyone is trying to insert a data, you want to display a message, right? That you really want to update the data, right? So that message will be displayed and that data will be inserted after that. So that is what a trigger is. Basically, you are doing one action, it is leading to another action over there. So that is, so you can create trigger on insert, update, and delete. So there are three type of triggers that you can get, right? And when you talk about indexes, right? So indexes is more like where what you have to do is these are used for the optimization of the query search. Say, for example, you have a table with 1 crore rows in that, right? So you say, suppose there is a column of okay, suppose your table has 10 lakh rows, right? And what we do over there is, so in any table, right, what happen is if there is a primary key, if there is a primary key, cluster index gets automatically cluster index gets automatically. So what is that basically? In this case, what is happening is the data will be stored in a sorted fashion of, right? Data will be stored, sorted by primary key, right? So that is basically called as a cluster index, right? So suppose you have a table with you, and in that table, what is happening is you have some IDs, right? ID and the name, etc. Name and subject. So if ID is primary key, so automatically what will happen is data will be stored in the ascending order of that the IDs now. And what is the idea of a primary of the indexes is, suppose you say that you want to see the data where the ID is equals to 4. Now because the data is already stored in a sorted fashion, so it's very easy for SQL to find that ID and display the result, that what's the name and subject of that, right? So that is where a cluster index gets automatically created. But if suppose the same table, the table was same, but ID was not a primary, so you will create a cluster index. You will say create clustered index on whatever is the name of the table, and you will write the column name, that is ID. So when you create a clustered index, what happens in that case is SQL will automatically sort the data of this ID on the base of ID column in the ascending order and then store the data, right? So in clustered indexing, the data gets sorted in that same sequence on which the index is created. In the non-clustered index, what happen is the non-clustered index, what will happen is it will create a separate table. It will say, okay, ID and row address. It will say, okay, ID1 is coming in row number 2, ID2 is coming in row number 5, ID3 is coming in the row number 6, ID number 4 is coming in row number 1. So that is how it is going to save the data now, right? That is how the data will be saved in another table. So what is going to happen is, if you suppose search a data, you say, I want to see the data where ID is equals to 5, or maybe ID is equals to 3. So what SQL will do is it will first come in this table. It will say, okay, ID is 3. it will find its row address that ID3 is coming in row number 6. So it will strictly go into it will straight away go in the row number 6 and pull the data for you instead of going row by row and finding where that matches. Getting it? That is what the purpose of an index is. You get this index for so that if you are trying to write a query and search some data, you can do it at a faster pace.
Non-clustered index is best to fast search.
Sorry?
The non-clustered index works faster.
No, cluster index was faster. Because in non-cluster index, there are 2 steps. Basically, first of all,
Okay.
it has to come over here. It has to find its row address and
Okay.
then go over here and pick that row. But in the cluster index, what is happening is the data is itself in the same table. So when you are saying you want to find the data where the ID is equal to 3, so it is in the same table finding the row number 3 and pulls the data and shows you the output. So cluster indexes are faster.
Okay, what I thought is like it need to navigate each and every row for that ID. So I thought in that manner. Okay.
Hey, Amit, I have a question on this. Why is it called clustered then?
Cluster
Clustered.
basically the data is sorted now over here. This index that you created, so it is basically on the same table. I mean, every data is now sorted in the same sequence. On the same table it is working. The index is in the same table. So table and index are on the in the same
Same table. It will add another additional column for the index.
No.
It will just sort ID column.
Sorry.
It will just sort ID column. It won't create
It will sort based on so index or whatever column you get the index, the sorting will happen on that.
And if there are any blanks or NAs, then
Is there any
blanks or NAs in the ID column then?
No, so blanks will come in the last.
Okay. And is there any other way to sort the data?
Is it?
Is there any other way to sort the data, like the whole table based on one column?
I didn't get it. If you
So
have
like-
one table,
Yeah, so I'm saying like, is there any other way apart from clustered index to sort the data of the table based on one?
order by column that you can use, order by clause.
Okay. So isn't that like, what is the difference then using order by or clustered index?
So indexing, the idea of indexing is it is used to speed up the process, right? Like for example, you have an index in your book, right? In the starting of the book, you have an index. Suppose if you have to read the chapter number 5, correct? Suppose if I don't give you the index in that book, how will you find the chapter number 5? You will go through each page, right? You will go through each page and then you will say, okay, here comes chapter 5, you will stop. But if you have the index with you, so what happens is you go to the index, you say, okay, chapter number 5 is starting from page number 130. So you directly jump over there to the page number 130. So you save that time of scrolling through all those 129 pages before that. So that is what the purpose of index is. So index is something which is helping the SQL query to find the results faster.
Okay.
Amit? So I like to know what will be the daily task for a data analyst, or how we will receive a job, or how we proceed it, how we will take it further.
See, if you talk about daily tasks, basically daily tasks are more like, they will, most of the time you will be spending your time in terms of, data manipulation, right? Understanding the data, how you can prepare the data, cleansing of the data. So those are the kind of tasks that you will be doing. And then after that, you will be building some reports over there. So whatever, because the data that you will be working in the real time, so that will be huge, right? You will be working with hundreds of tables over there, right? So we get hundreds of tables, databases, or many times we get multiple Excel files as well, right? So we have to append those Excel files together and we have to create single, the data files and apply lookups and all to prepare the data. So that is how basically the things are going to work, right? You will be having daily calls with the clients to understand what exactly they are looking out for. Then you will prepare certain level of drafts of the reports, right? And then what will happen is those reports will be shared with the client, and the client will share his feedback that okay, which reports are useful to him or which reports need some modifications. So that is how you will be working on it, right? And then the reports that are already created, so there will be some changes that will keep on coming up every month. You will have to refresh the data in those reports. So that is how these tasks work, right? So gradually what will happen is you will work as an analyst, as in you will be responsible for creating the reports. Later on, as you gain more experience, it will be more into the functional side as well. Now they will expect that okay, you can create the reports, you can also tell them the insights from there, right? What type of insights that this report is showing you up. So that is how you will be working on it on a day-to-day basis. That the reports will be coming to you, and you will be building, cleansing, and discussing with the clients to make sure that the right deliverables are going to.
Okay. And we have a visualization tool like the Power BI, Tableau, and we also have in R. So where do we use R visualization? And I mean, is it really required for us to use R for visualization?
So see, R is something that is used for the EDA purpose, right? Exploratory data analysis. So what happens is when you have to understand what exactly the data is all about, right? Because the processing of R and Python is way faster if you compare it to any other tool now. So many times what happens is like R is mostly used for some predictive analytics where you have to predict what is you have to predict the salary of a person, you have to do something, sort of prediction models that you have to create. In that case, what we do is we use R. So for doing the predictive analytics also, we have to first of all explore the data. That okay, what data is already telling you, right? Like in that case study that we did, that whether a person, what type of people are going to buy what type of people are going to buy those glucometers from you, right? So we did that whole case study on that. Now the next level of that case study would have been that okay, we would like to predict whether a person will buy the glucometer or not, right? So if you are doing those kind of things, that is where that the visualizations of R visualizations are used. So we do it. Developers do it just to understand the data. And mostly, what people do is they actually explore the data in the Tableau only because it is much more faster. You don't have to write any code and all, simple drag and drop. So you are able to create that out. So both things they happen, as in both things happen. But as a data analyst, if you go, you will be majorly working on the Power BI and Tableau dashboards for the daily report, not in the reports and dashboards. Dashboards you cannot create in the R now. So that is where you will have to use Tableau and Power BI.
Hey Amit, I have a couple of positions. I've seen the JDs of which data analytics. So if you want, I can share my screen and just like with what we have done, like we have done the trainings, but then there are some things which I don't know how to handle in an interview. So if you can guide on that.
Yeah, sure. You can share your screen.
Okay. So one of such position is this Alteryx consultant, which they require Python, Tableau. Now, extensive experience.
Alteryx is a ETL tool basically, right? What happened is this is more of the SSIS type of a job.
Yeah, I've used Alteryx. I've trained on Alteryx. So no, but I'm saying that there are other things in the JD which are like extensive, maintain stored procedure, data pipeline, statistical program, business intelligence, report automation, such as on data visualization, strategy projects. These all okay, we can handle still. I'll show you some other. 1 second.
Yeah, even for the analyst role, they are asking so many job descriptions and we are getting confused.
The requirements are ability to evaluate and analyze AWP and make recommendations based on technical expertise. So AWP, I think that is that Amazon something, right? That package. And then understanding. So this is a position for data analytics consultant, which is having all these requirements. So just by looking at it, what all do we need to prepare if we are given such a JD? Like
See,
understand.
basically what happens is like whenever you will see any job description, so job descriptions are mostly they are created very holistically. They will put n number of things in that. But when you go for the interview, so it is like even if you know that even on the requirement side, right? If you have 60 to 70% of the things also on your in your PT, you know all those things. So you are good to go with that, right? Like for example, if you see this job description now, there is only one thing that you can see that will match your interest, that is SQL,
Hmm.
right? Apart from that, there is nothing that you see over here which is going to be related to your things that you have learned right now. So it's more about this, although they have written it as a data analyst consultant, but it is more of a web development job that you see right now from here, right? The data models that are created, so how are you deploying them up, right? How are the people going to interact with it? So it's more of a the web application development job that I see from my perspective.
Right.
Getting
So
so so this is technically something not something you should be targeting for, right? Knowledge of testing, right? And if you see the entire the stuff over here, just somewhere the words analysis are coming, but this is not making it a data analytics job right now. As a data analytics, the person will be more of the person who is doing some analysis, making reports, or doing some making some predictive models and all.
right. So then I'll just go over a couple of positions just to understand. Okay. But okay, this is not the one. Functional requirement. Like this is a very brief job description in which they've just given experience in data analytics tool. I don't think this is the complete GD, but this is what they've just shared: Hadoop, R, Spark, Python. So
This will be a job. So in this case, they are looking for a person who has knowledge on big data also and some statistical tools like R and Python.
Hmm. So my question basically was how to prepare when you see a JD. So because obviously if we're going to be interviewing for a position, they will be giving us a job description and we have to prepare ourselves according to as much as we can according to the job description, because that's what they're going to ask. Now, what is the approach which you suggest? Going
See,
through.
basically, what will happen is, mostly in the job description, what they do is they just write the technical requirements, right? That okay, they want a person who should be person who is able to handle this also and XYZ. They will give couple of the names over there, which a person they expect a person should be able to handle it up. But it's mainly, how the interview start is they always see because every company has their own nature of data and on their own way of working on those tools now. So technically you will only be able to prepare on your the tools that you know, right? Say for example, if you are this job description that you opened it up, so if you think that if you just target for this job, you can easily do that, right? If you think you are good with Tableau, Python, all trades, so you have to focus on the concepts of those subjects only, not exactly that how that company is using it. So they will ask you generic questions only, right? Like what is blending in Tableau, what are set and group in the Tableau, right? Similarly, they will in the altries they are going to ask you about how the data flows are created over there, right? So the questions will be generic only. So they will not go into a very project specific questions in that case.
Okay, so for example, they have in the second, like for here, good understanding of agile methodologies. So for this JD, should I look up what are agile methodologies, what are SLM tools? I've worked a bit on GitHub, but they're not very extensively. We used to store for code, right? Whatever code I have written, I can store it on GitHub, but I've not extensively used it. Then
So you can be open on that. You can be vocal on that. I think you can tell them that okay, you have basic understandings on these, but you haven't used them, right? Like Bitbucket is also similar to that. Jira is for bug resolve issues. Any issues that we open up, they come over there. So you can tell them that okay, this is what you are good with, and this is something you need an exposure. That is totally fine. See, because all these things that they have written, you any which ways after 2-3 years, these all things will automatically come in your resume because
yeah.
you will be using in your current companies, Jira, Bitbucket, and all. That's it. So these are more like and for these things you don't even find trainings also. right? Like Jira and these GitHubs, and although you have started having the trainings, external training for these tools, but I will not suggest it because it's not that important from your perspective. So the main focus will be only on the Python, Alteryx, and Tableau.
Okay. Then when they say about, okay, you will say, yeah, I'm trained on SQL. Yeah, I have worked on SQL. Then they'll say, okay, how do you maintain stored procedures, or how do you maintain data pipelines? So like, what are data pipelines? What are these stored procedures in SQL?
See, now data pipeline that you see now, they are more of the concept of the the data bricks and the data lakes. That are the concept that has come up, right? So data pipeline is now more like a very generic word, that it's like the daily data that comes in. How do we maintain that those things can be automatically taken care of? So that is what a data pipeline is. This is where this Alteryx comes into the picture, right? We use this Alteryx for that particular purpose only, maintaining that ETL tasks, extraction, transformation, and loading of the data.
If anyone asks me, what are, how do you maintain data pipeline? What does it mean? Like, what is
See,
it in a data
see
pipeline?
what is a pipeline, right? So data pipeline is basically what happen is, suppose you have some data in Excel, right? Some data is in PDF, some data is in CSV file, okay? And you have to put all this data into a database now, right? And now every day what happens is, now these Excel, PDF, and CSV files, they get updated. So based on that, every day you have to update your database as well, right? So now there is a data pipeline that you have created, where what is happening is you can schedule the job. So what you do is, every day at 5 p.m. what is happening is that job will run. It is going to pick up the data from those files, and it is going to do some transformations and update the data into your database now. So that is a data pipeline now, right? So this complete data flow that you have created, that will be called as a data pipeline.
And in SQL, I think in one of the tools we had discussed how to schedule the report. I think in Power BI only we had
That was that was just a data refresh.
right. But how do we do that in SQL?
So for that, we have a different tool, SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services.
Hmm.
And you can do the same thing with Alteryx also.
Yeah, Alteryx I know we can do. With SQL, how can we can create?
There's a tool, SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services.
Okay, and in there we can schedule our, so like whatever reports are stored.
So first you have to create that complete data flow over there, and then you can do it. Then you can schedule the job.
Okay, and then by stored procedures, I'm assuming it would mean more or less the same thing, that we have some sort of
So it's a way of storing the queries only. You say anything that you write, suppose, so this data was
Should I stop saying? Yeah.
right? Like, what we discussed was, we discussed something like the views in SQL, right? Similarly, we have procedures. So if you say create procedure, create proc, let me call it as sp_1 as begin. If you write any query over here, see, now this procedure is created. This is a store procedure. Basically, now store procedure is, you don't have to write the query. If you just write sp_1 and you execute it, it is going to show you the result. You don't have to write this query. Now this query is saved inside this procedure now. So in the procedure, you can write multiple queries. This one query you have written, you can write another query over here. So when you call that procedure, those multiple queries will be executed in one go. That is what a store.
Can we use the result of one query in another query within the same procedure?
Sorry?
So like, let's say, for example, this query is giving us this result. It's giving us 2 rows with George and David. And suppose like that, we have one query, and then we want to use these two. Like we want to use the result which came out of the first paragraph into another query. but before the end of that procedure. Can we do that?
But before,
The end of the procedure.
that's a subquery. That's a subquery, no? So because this is what we are doing this query also. We are
Hmm.
using the results within the query, right? So we are saying that I want to select that data where budget is greater than, so whatever was the output of this. So that was used over here. And the output of this was used over here. And the output of this was used over here. So that's a sub, you can do that. You can do that.
Okay. Then okay, all right, that makes sense. And yeah, if you can just from your experience and whatever you've heard from your students, if maybe you could create a Word document or something on the interview questions, general interview questions, which you think like we should, few interview questions we should definitely prepare on around all the topics we've done from Tableau and
Yeah, and that I'll do it. I'll do that.
you can share that. That would be great.
Maybe by this weekend I'll do that.
Sure. Thank you. That's all from my end.
Amit, I need just a quick help on Power BI. Can I share my screen?
Yes, sir.
Are you able to see?
Yes.
Here, here it's asking like edit credentials and it's
I'll just
not.
click on that. You have to click on that.
Yeah, if I click on that, it's
Click on sign in.
Yeah, it's
Done.
yeah,
Click
it's
on the other.
yeah. Why it is asking like that?
So it's an authentication that you are giving, right? Because what will happen over here is your Microsoft Cloud, it is going to hit your laptop, right? So you're authorizing this that, okay, the Microsoft Cloud can access your laptop now. So it's just an authenticate, just permission for that.
Okay, I think previously it's not. I mean, okay, yeah, I think it's now. That's why my question. It's not. Why it is asking like now I can schedule refer. Previously I couldn't able to. This option is not enabled.
Because the files were not, you had not given the permission, that is why. So just you have to give an information that will be, you're good to go.
Okay, yeah. Thank you.
Um, Okay, everyone. So I think this is where we can take pause, and otherwise also what we will do is now you will find, right, when like for the May batch, right? So we will be starting off with the Tableau. You will find a lot of similarities with the Power BI only over there. Okay, so we will be starting off with that. So Tableau we will start off. I think tomorrow we will start it off. If not tomorrow, I think I'll start it from Friday, right? Because tomorrow I might have to take care of something important, right? But otherwise, we will start it in which ways from Monday in the so right in that case. But I will still keep you posted on that how we started, and I'll also share the links from where you have to download. So before, in fact, I can do that right away, so that you all have the software installed before we start off. So I'm just sharing that link over here.
Amit, I was asking about the case study for the SQL, your analysis for KPMG and that call history data.
The case study that we have to discuss on that, right?
No,
So let me do-
SQL, you were saying you can share your analysis on that KPMG.
Okay, I have them analysis. I have the analysis with me. I'll just have to find them up a little bit. So just give me a day's time. Let me find them
Yeah,
and
yeah.
share them.
Yeah,
I'll do that.
for both you can share, right? For call history database and KPMG.
Which one? KPMG. I will share it. What was another one?
Something related to the call history, the third case study you shared with us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that I'll do it. I'll do it. Both of them I'll do it.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So see, this is the software from where you have to download this. I'm putting this link over here on the chat. So from here, you have to just come over here, put your email address and download the app. So this will download the application that you have to install to start working with Python with Tableau. Okay, although I'll be discussing in a lot of detail like what exactly this software is and other stuff on that, but this is the software that we will be using for this training purpose.
Amit, I can use my desktop version, right? Because I already have this.
So do you have a license or is it a 15 days trial?
I have 1 year license, already 6 months over. I have 6 months.
Then you can use that also. That's totally fine. Yes.
Okay. Do we need to upgrade that for the latest version? What is the version you are following right now?
And we have this 2021 version we have with us, but it's
Okay.
more or less same. So there is no
Okay.
big difference in that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Yes, and I think this is where we'll take a pause, and and for Python also, I'll think we will start from Friday only. So I'll just put you update you the time also, and then we will take it up from there. Right?
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for the session.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am.
Before the session.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye all.
Bye.